Hello, I am Dr. LANU DEVI, HOD of Humanities and Social Sciences, Assam Downtown University. Today I would like to discuss on the meaning of community. What a community is. A community is a social grouping, or it is a social group with a common territorial base and a shared sense of common interests and belonging. I repeat again, a community is a social group with common territorial base. That means the people living in a community, they actually live in a common geographical area. And a shared sense of common interest. They share several senses of common interests and they have a sense of belonging to the group. When the population cluster is relatively small, focused on individual residences and place of work, and based on daily patterns of interaction, the cluster is called a community. Again, I like to explain it that the population cluster in a community is relatively small and it is focused on individual residences and place of work and based on daily patterns of interaction, then the cluster is called a community. Examples of communities are villages, towns, cities, suburbs, and metropolitan areas. And the basic unit of the community is the residence unit or household. The basic unit of the community is the residence unit or household. Now, the concept of community means a group of people. It is a group of people living in the same place or having a particular characteristics in common. It is a condition of sharing or having certain attitudes and interests in common. We can say that the community is a social unit with with commonality. A social unit with commonality such as norms, religion, values, customs, or identity. Communities may share a sense of place in a given geographical area. Like I mentioned before, like city, like country, like village, neighborhood, or very interestingly in the modern age, a virtual existence in a virtual space through communication platforms. You know, we can now interact in Zoom meeting, in other communication platforms. And this is not actually physical proximity, but physical proximity, virtual physical proximity through communication platforms. So again I repeat that the community is a social group with a common territorial base and a shared sense of common interests and belonging. Now, unless we understand the benefits underlying a community, underlying the community living, we won't be able to understand what a community is. We won't be able to understand the meaning of community. Now, what are those benefits that an individual actually gathers from community life? As you all know that a solitary human being is not a practical proposition. A human being cannot live alone. He has to live in a society. He is a part of a community. And I have discussed already the concept of community. Now, what are the benefits that are received from the community living by an individual? Number one, we can say the community life provides the individual the needed protection and security. And there is strength in that unity. The individual actually is better equipped to face the challenges of life and overcome the problems with the assistance of other members of the community if he would have lived alone, which he could not have perhaps solved or faced. Secondly, the community life provides for a cooperation of the members. The individual in cooperation with others can work and they can very efficiently work or play their role in the social, economic, cultural and other fields. So community actually plays a very important role in the life of an individual. Thirdly, we can say that the community life depends on some kind of communication system among the members. And communication is the medium of interaction. Now, what is that? What are those mediums of communication? Communications may take place through senses, through emotions, sentiments and ideas. Language primarily in its spoken and written form. Language in its spoken and written form has made our communication possible. And actually our traditions and our culture is handed down from one generation to the next through the medium of language. And it also has contributed to the conservation of our cultural values. Thus, community life, to some extent, to a large extent, depends on the language, and it has contributed to the development of community feeling. Fourthly, the community life provides the individual opportunities for the manifestation of his talents and abilities. It helps him to develop nobler feelings of service-minded and selfless and self-sacrifice. And in short, we say that a community, it is a social group which live within a definite area, sharing some commonalities, and they have a sense of belonging to the community. In conclusion, we can say that the community has been an expression that emphasized the unity of common life of a people or of mankind. Community has been generating a sense of belonging together. Sense of belonging together. So community life is very important. A community, belonging to a community is very important. A person is born in a community, he is brought up in a community, and his cultural values are actually developed or imbibed through community.